I don't say everything. I don't say in this chapter what is important only I am telling. Okay, so here the name tissue was given to interwoven structure by Mary Francois Xavier Bichat. Cell name is given by the Robert Hooke. Tissue name is underline this point. Tissue name is given by the Mary Francois Xavier Bichat. While he was studying, okay, while he was one minute. While he was studying deceased part. So what is the meaning of the deceased? Deceased means dead body. Okay, so dead body parts in the human body, when he is studying about the each part, so he found out the tissue. All the tissues are only making the parts of the body. So he gave name to the tissue by the Mary Francois Xavier Bichat. The mention of tissue is found in a book he wrote in the year 1799, giving a detailed description of the composition of tissues of the human body. You may be surprised to learn that though the microscope was in the use of Bichat's time, he never used in his observations. His study was based on his observation of animals' tissues, which he classified mainly into three categories. When he was studying about the tissues, he did not use the microscope. Okay, so he divided the tissues into three categories. Okay, the first one is the fibers, or those that were fiber-like. Like some tissues are like fiber. For example, when we take the coconut, when the coconut is grown up, when we remove the skin, outside of the coconut we can see like some threads outside. It is the fiber. It is like fiber. So fiber like, some tissues are like fiber, some are like serous, that means fluid or water. That were water fluid, that means blood or white blood cells, like water these are. And some are like muscles, okay, flesh. So mucus, or those that were slimy. So he divided into three categories, like fiber, like serous or mucus. Fibers or those that were fiber like, serous means those that were watery fluid like, mucus means those that were slimy like. Okay, so he further subdivided these categories into 21 other types, which he identified mainly on the basis of their function. Okay, basis of their function. And then almost all names in classification of animal tissues and most of their description come from Bichat's classification. So he divided again into nervous, connective, muscles. So we study everything in this textbook. Now and then some messages are coming. Don't worry about that. Listen to the class properly. When you listen to the class, follow the textbook. Okay, all this is the history. Okay, so not only that scientist Mario Francois Xavier, that and also Childen and Schwann also studied such groups of cells. Groups of cells, the detail way who studied, Childen and Schwann. Okay, so we see many kinds of things. I will explain to you. So you see, these are the different kinds of tissues. This is one cell, 1, 2, 3, see all these different cells making one tissue. So this is the one. In each cell there is nucleus is present. Yes, so these are the different shapes of cells that they are found in the earlier. Different kinds of shapes of tissues. Okay. Okay. Childen and Schwann also observed the fast growing tissues and found that their cells were small with a prominent large nucleus. Okay. So some cells are growing very fast. So very fast growing cells has the large nucleus, less cytoplasm and thin cell membrane or cell wall. As the cell matured, their size increased. The size of nucleus decreased. the amount of cytoplasm increased, and the walls and membranes become thicker. Okay, for example, when we take in the plants, when the tree, if we take a mango tree, when the mango tree is very small, when we touch the stem will be very soft. When the mango tree grows big, if we touch the stem now, will it be soft? No, it will be very hard. Okay, so when the cells are developing and increasing, that time what happens? Nucleus size will be decreased, amount of cytoplasm increased, and the walls and the membrane becomes thicker. Okay, that is why big trees stems are very hard, very thick, because of the cells are matured. Matured means it becomes a big. Okay, that is the one. And we have studied, however, time scientists had been studying the arrangement of cells in tissues minutely. Minutely means in detail way they studied. Of all their detailed study had been the structure of function of the tissues. They studied tissues in both plants and animals to observe the similarities and differences between them. They studied the similarities and some differences between the plant tissues and animal tissues. There are some tissues in our body that are very similar to those of plants, and it may be very difficult for an experienced scientist as well as to make out the differences. Usually mature animal tissues are, okay, listen, there is one difference. When the plant grows big, okay, the stem becoming very thick and hard. But people, when they become old, when they grow big and when they become old, okay, old means buddha na, buddha buddhi. So when they become old, their skin will become soft. This is the difference in the plant tissue and animal tissue. Okay, so here you see, plants it may be very difficult. Okay, mature animals tissues are softer than mature plant tissue. Mature plant tissues are hard and thicker. Mature animals or human beings tissues are soft. The cell theory was proposed on the basis of the similarities between the plants and animals tissues. Okay, so here you see, while comparing plant and animal tissues, we would find that most of the plant tissues involved in conduction of material across large distance are composed of dead cells, while those of animal cells have more of living cells. Also possible to identify areas of growing cells in plants more easily than in the animals. Okay, so growing cells we can find more easily in the plants than in the animals and human beings. Whenever animals comes, it is human beings also. Okay, so if we in the plant cells we can find very easily, because we can find the new leaves, new flowers, fruits. That is why new cells, growing cells we can find very easily in the plants. But in the human beings and animals, it is difficult to find out the growing cells. Okay, so here tissues are divided in different ways. We see in the next video.